لجمهورية مصر العربية.
Developing the curricula for the new Tibet programs in Egypt. As I said, I came from Scotland, and for many years I worked with the Scottish Qualifications Authority in many different roles, and I've been a freelance consultant for about 7 or 8 years, mainly working in the Middle East, Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates, Turkey, etc. And now I've been in Egypt for the last couple of years. I'd love to spend a lot of time telling you about what the Tibet-Egypt project is all about and what we're trying to achieve, but I honestly don't have that much time this morning to go into details. What I hope you'll have time for yourself is to visit our stand in the exhibition next door. And that will be manned by my colleagues and experts, and we'll be happy to answer any questions you have about our particular project, what we're doing, how we're doing it, and probably more interesting, why we're doing it. So if you have any questions about Tibet, Egypt, and what it's about, please come to the exhibition. There's a nice leaflet at the stand there that will tell you about our project, what we're actually doing, what we've achieved so far, and what our aims are. Okay? I don't have a lot of time, so I'm going to go through the presentation, and if there are any questions at the end, it may be that you'll have to come and visit me at the exhibition, and we can have a chat together there. Good. I've been working in vocational education and training for 25, 30 years now, and in different countries. But having been to Egypt now for a couple of years, there's something really positive about what's happening in the Tibet system in Egypt. Really positive. And it doesn't matter who you speak to, everyone that I speak to and talk to agrees with me. There is something positive. It doesn't matter whether we're talking to a student, or a teacher, or a trainer, or a parent, or even the Deputy Minister of Education. We all agree. And that goes right up to the top. President Sisi himself agrees. And what we all agree on is that the system here in Egypt has problems. And the good, positive thing is that we all agree there are problems, challenges. And if we all agree, it's a much easier job to move forward and put right what needs to be put right. So I'm really positive about our future in Egypt in terms of Tibet. We're working together to solve the challenges that we're facing. Now, there are a couple of main challenges that I've become very aware of in my last 2 years here. And I'm thinking perhaps I can give you a quick example of what those are. Let's see if it works. Let's imagine that I'm a Tibet student and I've come to this school here. Lovely school, it's a tourism school. There's my boss down there, head of the tourism sector. And I'm on a cook's course. I'm learning to be a cook. Not really interested in cooking, but because of what happened in my general education, I've ended up here and I'm on a Tibet program to become a cook. It's all right. Some of my friends over there, they're very keen. Very enthusiastic, some of them, but it's all right, I'm not that interested. But of course, okay, I can take it or leave it. One of the problems, I've just given you an example of how I got into this school is a problem, but that is being addressed by the government and the ministries of how people get into the Tibet system. But I'm here, I'm a student in this school, on a cook's course. And look, it's that day. It's arrived. And believe it or not, I've got a diploma. I finished my course, and I wasn't really expecting this because I really hadn't taken much part in the course. There were these tests that keep coming up and I found them boring, so I didn't really pay much attention to these theory tests. I know I didn't get all the answers right because there's no way I could, but hey, I've got a diploma. Brilliant! That'll look nice on my bedroom wall. My friends over here who are very enthusiastic about cooking, they're a bit upset because I've got one of these and they've got one of these. Trouble is they deserve it, but I don't. But I've got it because the system awarded it to me. We need to look at that problem as well, and we'll have a look at that later. But hey, I've got this. I'm going to use it. There's a new restaurant opened over there. I read in the paper they're looking for a cook. Let's see if I can get a job. Excuse me, I'm here about the job that you had in the newspaper. I hear you're looking for a cook. Yes? Great. I'm the man. Look, you say qualified cook. I've got a diploma. I'm qualified. When do I start? Oh yeah, I can start straight away. Where are the kitchens? Down here? Great. So I get a job with my diploma. Yes! It worked. Kitchen. Right, I think I remember what to do. So I go away to the kitchen and get on with the cooking. Great. Trouble is, 2 days later, the manager here has a pile of complaints from customers about the quality of the food. Not good. By the end of the week, 13 of his customers have got food poisoning. Ugh. The hotel inspectors are coming on Saturday. Oh dear. Which, by the way, I lost my job. He sacked me. I don't really blame him. I really didn't know what I was doing, but I had a diploma saying I did know what I was doing. We've got a problem here as well, because the next student that comes to this restaurant and says, I want a job, and look, I've got a diploma to prove it, that I'm competent, am I going to get the job? No. That's a real problem. This certificate is now worthless. He doesn't trust it anymore. He had a bad experience of somebody coming from the Tibet system, and he got a lot of trouble from it. So he won't trust this. He'll probably train the next person himself to his standards. So we've got a problem there, and we've got a problem that I got this in the first place. Two things. Why I wasn't competent yet may be because of the program that was being run here. Maybe what I was being taught didn't meet the needs of the employer. There was something wrong with the content of the program. It was out of date, or it didn't cover all the subjects. That's a real possibility, and it's true. A lot of the programs we're running here in Egypt are out of date. They're not meeting the needs of employers. So that's one possibility, that what I was taught was wrong. The other possibility is that perhaps what I was taught was okay. It covered the basics, and that's all I was looking for. But perhaps the way that he assessed me, who judged me as being competent, there's something wrong in that process. If the system said I was competent and I wasn't, there's something wrong with the way we're assessing the students. And that is a problem that I know exists. Currently, there's too much emphasis on the theory of how to be a cook rather than the practice of actually cooking. Too many written tests, and that's not the way you test a cook. So, two problems. There are others, but those two main ones we'll deal with during our presentations today. We'll look at the programs and what we're doing to improve those, and we'll look at the system of assessment and how we raise the quality of that system so that people like our employer there trust it. Okay? Don't know if that helped, but it's an example of what I've discovered since I've arrived. Oops. Hope that wasn't a real certificate. Right. Good idea to start with a common understanding of what TVET programs are. To me, and to many others, the TVET program is there to prepare our young people here in Egypt to enter the world of work. Get away from education and take that leap into the world of work. They're there to prepare them for that. Another key feature of the TVET programs that we are developing is that they're there to develop what we might call the key or employability skills. The sort of skills that any employer would look for. It doesn't matter what the job. These are the skills of working together in a team, communicating, problem solving. These sort of skills that any employer would look for, we're building into the new programs. So the programs are there to help people not only get a job, but stay in a job and perhaps move between different jobs. And these TVET programs are really an important part of what we might call that lifelong learning journey. It never stops. It started in school. Once they've got a job, it will continue with on-the-job training and qualifications. However, besides these very important employability skills, the new TVET programs are there to develop the skills, the knowledge, the attitudes, the behaviours that people and young people need to perform a job role effectively. The programs have their foundation in job specifications, and we're being very careful to avoid that problem of the program not meeting the employer's needs. But when we're developing, we start with the employers. We ask them, what are the skills, what are the knowledge, what are the attitudes you're looking for in your employees and for a particular job, and we build those into the new programs and curriculum. So it's very important to work closely with the industry. And we've agreed with them the duties, the tasks that a particular job will entail, and we build those into the new programs as well. Our new programs, you may have heard of ours, but the whole system in Egypt is moving to a competence-based system. And what is competence? How do we know somebody is competent? In a TVET program, we can say that a student is competent when they can consistently apply the skills, the knowledge, the attitudes and behaviours to the standard defined in the qualification standards themselves. And they are being demonstrated in workplace conditions. That's very important, that we ask the people to perform their new knowledge and skills in what might be seen as a workplace or workplace conditions. Get away from the classroom and get into the real world. A feature of the new competency-based curricula is that there's more emphasis on what the student is able to do rather than what they actually should be able to know. It's all about applying their skills and knowledge, not just knowing how to do a job, but being able to do it and demonstrate that they can do it. The process of developing the curriculum we've adopted isn't new. It's recognised around the world. It's a fairly standard process. We start with the design, and I'll go into how we do that in a minute. We then develop from the information from the employers in that design stage. We develop the new programs and structures. We implement them, and we're implementing in a pilot phase at the moment some of our new curriculum. We check how that's going on. We monitor it. There's an evaluation of how well the whole thing has gone. And then that evaluation may tell us what we developed in the first place actually needs a little bit of adjustment and it's tried. So there's a review process and we start again. The review takes you back to the design. So it's a fairly standard development process that TVET Egypt is using. But in terms of the actual project process, I'll go through it fairly quickly, but not too quickly, I hope. We need to start with, is there a need for this program in the first place? We need to establish that need. We need to talk to employers and say, what is your industry looking for at the moment? What are your future plans? We need to talk to the ministries, the education system. What programs have you got that are out of date and perhaps need re-looked at and worked up to a better level? So we establish a need very strongly at the beginning. No point in developing a new curriculum if nobody needs it or wants it. The next stage is very much done in conjunction with the employers. Okay, we need a new program for a cook. We need to work with the tourism and hospitality industry and decide what a cook actually does. What is the job specification for a cook? That process of analysing the job will give us what we might call, we'll have a course preparation that has 3 units in it. So units start to become courses within the programs. Very important stage, and my colleague Sean will talk about this after I finish. We don't just believe what we've done is good. We ask others, is what we have done meeting the standards that you expected? So there's a validation process before we go any further. Have we got the units right? Are they measuring the occupational standards accurately? Does the program make sense from beginning to end? Is there progression throughout it? And we ask industry and education to come together to look at what we've done and say, yeah, that's fit for purpose, or hang on, I think it could be improved, and we take the feedback and work with it. Following the validation process, we implement. And at the moment we're piloting the implementation of some programs in ready-made garments and electrical installation. Once the programs are in, the assessment process starts. In order to ensure that the decisions that are being made during that assessment process are accurate and fair and consistent, we apply quality assurance to that assessment process. And again, Sean will talk more about that in his presentation. That is so important. If people don't trust the decisions that teachers and trainers are making, the credibility of the new system diminishes. We'll be there to support the implementation of the new programs. We're in there, we're helping the teachers understand it, we're coaching and mentoring them, and there's a sort of maintenance and review process as we go along. If there's a problem we're finding, we'll solve it before it gets too big. At the end of that circle, we need to decide, is this program working? Is it what we need? This could be after a period of 3 or 5 years. Perhaps the industry have changed their standards, so the program itself needs to change. So there's a reassessment, a re-validation, if you like, of the program after a period of time. And that program, if it needs changes, takes you back to the beginning. Is there still a need for this program? And if the answer is yes, the circle starts again. So that's a very quick walk through the process that we're undertaking at the moment. And I suppose the main emphasis there is that we're doing it in partnership with industry and the world of education. We're making sure that what we're producing does meet the needs of industry. During training of teachers and curriculum developers, it's often quite a challenge for people to understand some of the new concepts that we're trying to put across. This whole idea of a competence-based system is so different to what the teachers themselves are used to. But one thing that helped me is to perhaps think of a job, a cook, as a filing cabinet, stuffed full of information. And if I start to explain it like that, it starts slowly to make sense. If this filing cabinet represents the job, the first thing we need to do before we start filling up that filing cabinet with information is look at that job profile. What exactly does this job entail? And that's where we sit with our industry friends and we talk about the job. What's involved? What are the responsibilities of the person in that job? How much responsibility do they have? What are the trends in this job? Where's it going in the future? Is new technology going to affect this job in the future? All these things are taken into account. any rules or regulations that affect this job that we need to know about as we write the new programs. They're considered as well. What are the challenges that a job holder will face? Are they going to have to work long hours or shifts? Or is it working outdoors all the time? There are certain things that we need to know about a job to create a good program for that job. So all that is put together into a job profile. The last stage of that job profile looks at the main activities of that job. What are the core activities? And when those core activities become the drawers in the filing cabinet. Top one there may be customer service. It's a big part of the job, so that deserves a drawer on its own. Perhaps the second drawer is all about maintaining records and paperwork. So it becomes a drawer in itself. The main activities of the job get a separate drawer. So let's pop into one of the drawers and see what we find. If we look in the drawer, what we'll find are the duties that the person that has that job will need to do to undertake that core activity. So there are a lot of duties within that filing cabinet, and they're all agreed with the industry before we shut the filing cabinet. If we look in the folder for a duty, we'll find more information. And these are the competencies that the holder of that job will need to undertake that duty. What should that the employee be able to demonstrate to show that they are competent in the job? So we have agreed the competencies for the duties with industry again. And the competency is made up of knowledge and skills and attitudes and behaviours. And these are all agreed. All that information is in the filing cabinet. And we use that filing cabinet to fill up our design template. We use all the information in there. Doing it that way helped me to understand the process. Perhaps it simplified it for you and others that are starting out in the process itself. I've talked about a design template. It's just a document, it's full of tables, it has all these skills and knowledge and competencies and duties, and then we take them and we put them together into a program structure that has units and courses. And that's very important because our new programs are made up of units. They're the building blocks, if you like, of the new programs. And each unit is relating to a duty that has been agreed with industry. Those units are then put together to form courses within the program. And all that together creates the new program itself. Units into courses. Now, I've used that word curriculum a lot already in the presentation. In our system here in Egypt, each of these courses has its own curriculum. It's not a program that has one curriculum, each of the courses has its own curriculum. Quite important to understand, and it's a great feature of the system because it gives it flexibility. By flexibility I mean in the future, rather than going to school for 3 years, you may just want to go and do one unit to a centre. That unit can be certificated on its own in the future. Perhaps you just want the course that's been offered within a program. You don't want the 3 years, you just want a course on food preparation. In the system that we're developing, that course has its own curriculum and can be certificated separately in the future. So it is a very important flexible feature. The curriculum for me is everything, all the constituent parts of a course or a subject that is taught in a school or an institution, and as well as the standards, it includes all the assessment materials as well. It includes all the learning materials, all the teaching materials that are required for a particular course or unit become part of the curriculum package that we're developing. So a teacher in the future picking out a unit will bring with it everything that's needed for that unit itself. As we develop our curriculum and the programs, something else is happening. At the end of the 3-year program, the student gets a diploma. Hopefully they don't tear it up. So effectively, the program itself has become a qualification. So as we develop the curriculum, we're actually developing the qualifications that go along with that curriculum. And we'll talk about the qualification standards and what they are in a minute. The unit is the base, it's the building block of the program, and within each unit we have what we call the qualification or educational standards. Those are made up of learning outcomes, performance criteria, and assessment evidence. Very quickly we'll go through those three just to make sure we understand each of those three terms. We're finding that the language used, the teaching system here, needs to be learned. People need to get used to the language that they're using, and it's good that we can all have a common understanding of what we are actually meaning when we say these phrases. The unit itself is the smallest component of a program. It's a collection, if you like, of related skills, knowledge and attitudes. Everything within a unit should be related. It can be independently assessed as well. As I said, you can achieve a unit on its own, or you can put it together for a course and eventually a program. But each unit is freestanding and can be assessed on its own. Learning outcomes, they tell the students and the teachers what they should be able to do by the end of the unit. What is involved in the unit, what do they need to be able to do to achieve that learning outcome. And we get those learning outcomes from the competencies in our design template. Performance criteria, they set the standard of achievement. We've said in the learning outcome you should be able to do this, but the performance criteria say you should be able to do this to this standard. And it's the performance criteria that are at the core of the assessment process. And we get our performance criteria from the knowledge, skills, attitudes and behaviours that are in our design template. The last set of educational standards, the evidence requirements, I suppose for me are the most important. We don't want our teachers and trainers in these new programs to guess what a student who is competent should demonstrate. We want to be able to tell them definitely, before you make a decision somebody is competent, you must see this. And we're very clear in this part of the unit what a teacher should be able to see and what a student has to demonstrate and generate as evidence. And that gives you more information about the type of evidence that's required and how much of that is required before you can say you are competent. Types of evidence. What types of evidence do we have? The most important type of evidence is performance. These new programs and qualifications are all about demonstrating your skills and ability. So we're looking for evidence that they can perform to the right standard. So that's the most important type of evidence that we hope to see in the evidence requirements boxes. But sometimes by doing something, you actually make something as well. So that type of evidence is product evidence, where something can be measured against standards, something that can be compared with something else that is at the right standard. So something has been made, and that becomes evidence of competence as well. Often you see those two together. Yes, the product is important, but perhaps more importantly is how you got to that product. What was the process you went through to get there? So these two can be assessed together. The third type of evidence is the one that's most commonly used here, Questioning, yes, you can have written tests, you can have multiple choice tests, and that is usually testing theory, the knowledge. Trouble is, our friend at the top there, building a brick wall, it's become very clear, not only in this country but other countries, that bricklayers don't like writing about building brick walls. They love building brick walls, but not talking or writing about it. So we try and discourage written assessment types for these sort of practical skills, but if you are going to use questioning as a way of gathering evidence, it's probably much better to do it orally. So instead of taking the bricklayer from the bricklaying site and putting them in a classroom and giving them a test, much better when they're building the brick wall to ask them questions. Why did you use that particular type of trowel? There's another one on the ground there. Why didn't you use that trowel instead? And by answering that, they can give you the knowledge that you're looking for, rather than taking them away and asking them questions in their classroom. So these are the types of evidence that we're putting into the new units of competencies within our programs. I'm conscious I'm going quite quickly. I'm also conscious we have got little time today. Are you with me so far? Good. Let's do it. A great feature of the new programs, and this is really, really exciting, is that when we have finished our job creating a new program, we're going to have skip the page. Can I just very quickly reinforce the links between the occupational standards and the educational standards? Remember our filing cabinet. Once it's all full, that filing cabinet becomes the program itself. Our core activities here at the side become the courses within the program. The duties that came out of the draw, they become the units within the courses within the program. The competencies that came out of that folder of duties, they become the learning outcomes within the units. And those competencies have performance criteria which we're getting from the knowledge, skills, attitudes and behaviours. So there is a direct link between the industry side, where we had all that information, and the educational side, where we're putting the program together. And it works quite neatly indeed. As I was saying, when we finished creating a program, we're going to have a lot of units. Sometimes 20, 30 units maybe in a program. We don't put them on a shelf and gather dust. What we do is put them in a bank, a unit bank. We can stuff them all in there. We haven't lost them. So, the next time somebody comes along and they want to deliver or develop a new program, perhaps they don't need to write a new unit. Let's have a look what's in the bank. We could take out a unit that fits other programs. If you're lucky, you might find more than one. Technical drawing unit can fit into maybe 2 other types of programs. So this new idea of flexibility is making a lot of sense. And each time you take a unit out of that bank, you bring with it the assessment materials, the learning materials, and the teaching materials that are needed to deliver and assess it. I mentioned assessment there. So important. I wish I could spend the rest of the day talking about competence-based assessment. But I can't. So very quickly, some key features about the new assessment process that is designed to ensure that the decisions are made correctly, fairly, and consistently. Very important to realise that we're measuring people against set standards. We're not measuring one student against another student. We're not saying you're better than him and he's better than both of you, which is the current system. What we're saying is we are measuring you against a set standard. the competence for that particular program or unit. The whole assessment process is less and less about saying to students, wait, come here, come and be assessed, come into this classroom and do this test. It's not about that, it's more about, go away, go and gather evidence of your competence. Go and demonstrate that you can do what we've taught you. Make sure somebody's watching you and they can use the checklist, but it's about demonstrating their competence and gathering evidence. And that evidence is put together and gathered into a portfolio which is then judged. And it's that process that makes it interesting. It's like balancing it. Have I got enough evidence? Am I confident that he's competent? Maybe not. I need more evidence. So we gather a little bit more evidence until I can say, yeah, you're now meeting the standards. Because what I'm seeing matches the evidence requirements which are being clearly stated. The great thing, and I've been an assessor in a competence-based system in Scotland for many years, there are only two decisions that can be made. You don't need to work out, have you got 67% and you've got 83%? No, it's much easier than that. There are only two decisions at the end of the process. First decision, you're competent. This line, the bar that has been set, if you think of that as the standards and the level of competence, if you reach that standard, the only thing I need to decide is, you are competent. You've met the standards. Well done. Great. Have a certificate. The other decision, it happens quite frequently. The other decision is, you're not yet competent. You've tried, you didn't quite reach the bar, so you haven't quite reached the standard. Our friend here is not a failure. There are no failures in this system. Our friend here needs to get down to the gym. He needs to do some more exercises and training and come back. And the system allows him to come back. And if he comes back next week, next month, and gets way over the bar, much higher than this person, he's not better than that person. What we can say is that they are both now competent and they have reached the standard. And that is a refreshing feature of the process. Of course, if he keeps not achieving, that can be quite demoralizing. It's not good for a student to say, sorry, you haven't made it this time, come back. Sorry again, you haven't made it. It's not very good for the student. So we recommend that perhaps after 3 attempts, we need to talk to this person seriously and counsel them. Okay, this is a level 3. Perhaps you'd be better on a level 2 program, which you can achieve without any trouble that you're having at the moment. So we need to give them guidance and counselling and perhaps work out the best future for them. But they're not failures. They're just not yet competent. Wow. I'm going to have to stop there. All I can say is thank you very much for your time this morning to listen to me. I would love to take an hour of questions with you now and discuss it, but my friend Sean here is dying to get going. I'll be at the exhibition on the stand for TVET Egypt. If you want to talk to me about what you've seen, talk to me about what we're doing, how we're doing it, and why we're doing it, great, I'll be there. We can have a chat. But thanks again for your time, and we'll move on to the quality assurance side of this very important balancing act of getting credibility and trust into the system. Thank you.